Hey guys, Tom here to show you exactly how you can use Zapier to have it so that when you create a brand new client in your CRM, you automatically have a Google Drive folder created for that client in the right folder. So we'll get right into it here. Yeah, like I said at the beginning, we're going to use Zapier to do this. For Zapier, they have this great, actually I use this quite a bit, ChatGPT probably powered feature where you can type in what you want and it'll kind of make it for you. It's actually quite awesome. Not going to do it right now because I think there's a lot of value in actually just walking through the steps. So let's create a brand new Zap. So like all Zaps, there's a trigger and an action. So with the trigger, like I said, it's creating a brand new client in your CRM. That's the trigger. And the action is then going to be creating that folder. So start with the trigger. So we use Zoho quite a bit. That's what BluMortgage is built on, but you can use a bunch of things right here. So if I know some people out there using Pipedrive, you can see I just basically come in here and say new lead, right? So I'd select that. I don't want to do Pipedrive, of course, but let me actually let's try and change this now. Yeah, so I had to do it on this page so I can change. I know some people, I know someone who recently came onto Hubspot, same idea, you can come in Hubspot and then new contact there. So you can really choose for whatever makes the most sense for you. We're going to use Zoho CRM, and again, new contact is what we're going to do. The next thing that you do is just have to choose the account. So, in most people, this is pretty straightforward. For me, you can see I use quite a few different CRM accounts, but I'm going to use this one, which is our demo account, and we'll just use this. Why not? So it's going to just make sure it authenticates, make sure it's connected. Nope, so let me try this again. BluMortgages. That's this one actually. This one's the one we want to use. Yep, perfect. So then we hit continue, and then we'll just hit test. So I'll pause while it tests. Yeah, so what you can see in the test, it's kind of nice actually. It pulls a few different contacts through, I should say, people who I can use to kind of construct the rest of the Zap here. So if I just look for name here, you can see we have, preferred name, vendor name, first name, full name. There you go. So that's probably what we're going to use because we want to use the information that we have in the CRM to dynamically name the folder in our Google Drive. So that's what we're going to do here. Perfect. So we have that information here. If for whatever reason that first contact that pulled doesn't have a good name to use as a sample, you can see it actually pulls a few different ones. So we have Julie and Jamie, but why don't we use Julie? That's a nice one there. So we'll continue with that. And so now we have that. So now it's a new record. It's created, and we have that. It's going to be used to construct the rest of our Zap. So now it's asking about the action. So for this, again, we're going to use Google Drive. You could use, Dropbox. Sure, I think Dropbox is in here. It is. Even maybe OneDrive through Microsoft. Yeah, that's in there too. So it's really up to you. We're going to use Google Drive. And what I want to do then is create a folder. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Hit continue. Just like before, we have to choose actually which Google Drive we're going to use. I'm already logged in as Google, so it allows me to do that. I just hit allow. And now that is set up. It'll just take a second. Oh, there it goes already. And so now this is honestly the part that's really kind of maybe the coolest, but definitely the most involved. So I'll kind of do it a bit slowly here. First off, choose the drive. It's usually always my Google Drive unless you have more of a corporate account with different drives. What I like to do, this is an important one here. So if you go over to my Google Drive, you can actually see I have my drive, and then within it I have client documents. There's nothing here right now. I want to put it in here. I don't want to just put it in the master. I wanted to put it in client documents. And so that's exactly what I'm going to pick here. I could choose this. I've had other folders within client documents. It'll show down there, but client documents is exactly where I want to go. So that's easy enough. I can put it there. And then finally, what we're going to do, this is the cool part, is we're going to use the information from the first step, creating that contact, to actually inform how we're going to name this folder. So I'm going to say first name. Let's see. So, I have to actually, type it in here. First name, search Julie. space, and then I'll do last name, the borrower, and then I'll do is documents. So in the end, I'll say Julie, the borrower's documents. So it's a little bit tricky to do that. That's why I wanted to spend a bit more time on this step, but that's going to do that. I'll dynamically pull in that information and name it. So what we're going to do, that looks like a good test. Fine. Let's test that step. So that looks good. Let's go over here, and yeah, sure enough, Julia the borrower's documents, it's right there, ready to go for me. Pretty cool. One thing I'll make a note of on this, and then we can actually get into a live demo of how it actually looks, is that you can actually add steps in here. So sometimes in certain areas, you might want to do, most commonly what I see people doing is a filter, right? So you could say, hey, only actually create the folder if certain things are true. Hey, a very good example might be that the contact type, or sorry, the what did I say? Let's say contact status is or contains, and then client, right? So the idea is only create this if it's a client. If it's a prospect, I don't want to just create a ton for it. So that's something that we see quite a bit. The other thing you could do too is I'll just remove this, delete. Yeah, give me a sec while I delete this. Another thing you can do too is you can actually add a path. So it's more of like an if else, right? So that, hey, if it is a contact or a client, like I showed in the last step, do this. If it is a prospect, maybe I wanted to do something else. So that's what the path allows you to do. So that's not the point of this video. So I am going to delete this, but that's just something that you might want to add in as maybe a step in between. So this looks good. The test went well. Let's publish this. And then let's actually try it out for good. I am best practice, which I didn't do this time, was say you do want to, just because then if you get a ton of entitled zaps, it gets very confusing. So I'm going to say create Google Drive folder from Zoho CRM contact. Great. That looks good. And now let's try it out. So now I'm jumping back over into Zoho CRM. This is BluMortgage, our version of Zoho CRM for the mortgage market. Jump over into my borrows, and there's a lot of ways you can create borrows. They can come from your website, from your online application system, whether it's Finmo or Velocity or whatever it might be. But I'm just going to do it manually this time. So I'm going to call this Zapier McGee. Why not? We'll do that. I'll just put in some other stuff. Doesn't really matter. That's all we really used was the name. But I'll just put some random stuff in here, and let's whatever. So that's in. Great. And so let's see what happens. So that's saved. That should be the trigger. If you remember, my whole Zap starts with a trigger and then an event. And so that was the trigger. So that in itself should have been enough to create that Google Drive folder. So moment of truth. Let's jump over. This is real time. I'll refresh this. Okay, does it come through? So let me just pause and see what's going on. Okay, so what I did is went over into Zapier, and this is another kind of cool thing with doing in Zapier is you can see the Zap Runs. So all it took is that it was a little bit delayed. It was about 11:53 when I checked. It's 11:54 now, and it looks like that worked. You can actually see exactly what went into it, all the kind of the details here, step by step. So you get a ton of details with it. And so now if I go back, sure enough, Zapier McGee's documents showed up there. There's no funny business. You can see this is exactly how it was done. We had data in of we needed these two things created, and then data out. We actually get a lot of cool information here about the details of that Google Drive. One thing that's interesting with it is, it looks like there's different links that I can maybe potentially share back to my client, right? So that is something we've seen a couple times people do is actually take that link from the Google Drive and then put it back on Zapier McGee's profile to do that. And so maybe we'll do that in another video. But this was good to kind of check out these Zap Runs, make sure that works. So I just went here, Zap Runs, clicked on the one that went, and we're good. So that's pretty much it. So yeah, using Zapier, great way to do it. No matter what CRM you're using, you can do it pretty quickly. You just follow those steps, and you can see, hey, as soon as I create a borrower here, it takes about a minute, but then we get a document here to start collecting their docs, which is pretty awesome. So I'll leave it there. If you do have any comments or questions, let me know in the comments below. I really appreciate you watching through to the end. If you enjoyed this, please do like, subscribe, that sort of thing. We really appreciate the support. Thanks.